This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, in the big red letters, it's Alex. In the big white letters, or small white letters, it's the Ramble. That's where we are, and we keep going until midnight tonight. Hello everyone. Welcome to our fine little program in which we have maybe 10 listeners and 5 callers, and that's it. You know, it's a very simple show coming from my lovely apartment here in New York City, in Harlem of all places. If you didn't did you ever see the movie New Jack City? Yeah. Well, you know a place called the Carter, which was that big apartment house that they take over and make into a big meth lab or crack lab. Yeah, crack lab. And Denzel Washington is in it. That's this apartment house. And when he says in the picture, he shows a layout of the apartment house. He says, here's where we're going to build the meth lab, and he points to our kitchen window. So this apartment was the meth lab in New Jack City. Okay? Just thought I'd pass that little bit of information along to you. Hey, listen, we got to go to our citizen panel here. Well, not our citizen panel. What we do is we on Wednesday nights, sometimes Thursday next month, I guess, we go to this guy, one of the people who is most loved of all the people on GabNet, Phil Meyer. Hello, Philip.
Hey, it's been an exciting week.
Why has it been an exciting week?
Well,
you start off. You know what you do is you start off immediately with the news stories rather than saying hi and hanging out for a little bit. You know, and that's the way I prefer to do it. I don't want to get into all that service.
Well, on Saturday I photographed 20. What do they call those things? MMA matches, and that was fun. Mm-hmm. I had a good time doing that. Mm-hmm. Today, I got my COVID booster.
I got mine too.
Today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. And we're still alive to talk about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were down there as soon as we heard it. I said to Marjorie, you know, you're not working on Wednesday. Let's go down. Do it. So we went up to the Rite Aid up here where we normally go and got it. Got our booster shot.
Well,
in fact, if people don't believe me, well, wait a minute. Can I roll up my sleeve high enough?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me see. Can I get it up?
Look at those muscles.
Wait a minute. Is the bandage still there? I think
you've been working out.
I think it's gone.
Yeah?
I think it's gone. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it isn't. It's so far up that I don't know if I can get my
don't stretch your sleeve.
Well, anyway, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah. They gave me a new card, you know. So.
They gave you a new card. They didn't give us one, but you see, we have in New York State we have these things called Excelsior passes, and if you go to your Excelsior pass and you go there. See there, it says Bennett Schwarzman, see? And then it goes up, and then I go vaccination details, and it gives me all 3 that I've done so far, and I imagine my 4th will show up eventually there.
Yeah. Well,
so that's what we show, you know.
You know, we're vaccinated, and hopefully this new strain will be weaker than previous ones.
Well, I think what's going to happen, okay, I think they should stop calling it the 2nd booster shot, the 3rd booster shot, the 4th booster shot. They should just call it the latest booster shot, because what do? Every year we get a new flu shot, right?
Yeah, right. Although, you know, some people, wear those booster shots as a badge of honor, you know. Yeah. I got my booster shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're going to have to get a booster every year, or maybe every 6 months. You know, So if that's the case, so be it. I'm there. You know, it takes a couple of minutes to get the shot. doesn't hurt particularly, and you're in and out of there, right?
Yeah.
I felt a little sting today, but nothing bad. Marjorie didn't feel anything.
Well, they asked me when I went in, which one did you have? I told them Pfizer, and they said, did you have any reaction to any other the other shots? I said, yeah, I thought I had a stroke after the second shot. She says, okay.
Okay.
She says to me, okay, you won't have to wait the 15 minutes after you take the shot.
They were going to make you wait. They were going to make you wait 15 minutes.
Yeah, just like the other shots. But if you hadn't had any reactions, you didn't have to wait in the waiting room with the rest of the hoi polloi.
Yeah. Well, we got the shot, and it was simple. And everybody, if you're over 50, go down and get them. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that I have to be very happy about is every time I have to go to the urologist.
Yeah.
Right. Number one, the urologist is my least favorite urologist. I mean, least favorite doctor. Okay, because he's going to do.
You like this guy?
No, wait a minute. Let me finish. Finish. You never let me finish. You always try to jump before I tell what I got to say. I don't like urologists. I found them, by and large, to be the weirdest bunch of people I've ever had to deal with in my life. Okay? And they're all, for the most part, terribly unpleasant. I found a gem of a guy. I mean, this guy is just the best there is. I got to tell you. He's wonderful. And, in fact, what's his first name? I can't remember his first name now.
Fingers.
Huh? Fingers. No, Fingers. I just want to say his name because if you live in New York, this is the guy for you. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. This is not an advertisement for him. I'm doing an endorsement of this guy. Right. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me get the phone numbers here, and let me go to over here to contacts. It's Dr. Vapnek, but I just want to get his first name so you don't call the wrong Vapnek. Not like there are very many others. Yeah. But it's Dr. Because, you always call him Dr. So-and-so, and you never remember what the last name is, right? But it's TV. There we go. Jonathan Vapnek. V-A-P-N-E-K. V-A-P-N-E-K. And this guy has just been a gem for me. Yeah. He said from the beginning, I'm never going to do any procedures I don't feel you absolutely have to have. Okay? Because I had another doctor who every time, they always found blood, a little bit trace of blood in my urine. And when they did, this one doctor would say, time for another cystoscopy. Yeah. Right? And I got to hate that guy terribly. Well, this guy doesn't do that. He doesn't suddenly go jumping in and giving me. He didn't give me a what do you call it? What do they call those things when they puncture your prostate and get some stuff? A biopsy.
Biopsy. Yeah.
I'm very bad at words these days. The biopsy. He said, I don't want to go to a biopsy till I feel you need one. And when I needed one, he did it. And when he did it, he found cancer. And when he found cancer, he sent me to the best doctor in New York. Well, the guy who worked on Rudy Giuliani, I don't know if that makes him the best doctor in New York, but he puts the seeds in you and all that kind of stuff. So this doctor literally saved my life. Okay? Yeah. And I got to thank him for that. But still, I'm terrorized by having to go every year, or in this case, this time it was 9 months. Yeah, This time it was 9 months, and because they do a PSA test, which is a test to see if there's any kind of cancer going on in your system or suspicion of cancer. It doesn't necessarily mean you have it. It just means there's something not exactly right. Okay.
Well, they're monitoring you because you had cancer.
That's right. And because you had an operation like you did, he had his prostate removed.
Right.
He still weighs the same. But he had his prostate removed. And mine was not the same kind of thing. My thing was radiation and seeds being put in my prostate. And so tell him, with no prostate, what is your PSA number?
It should be 0.
Uh-huh.
No detectable PSA.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No detectable PSA.
Right.
Oh, it's supposed to be 0. Well, what is it?
Less than 1.
Okay. Okay. My I had so I went and I went into him and he checked everything because I was worried about things like I was having pain when I peed and things like that, and I figured maybe there was something really wrong with me. He says, nah, that's probably because you had those seeds implanted in you, and it's going to be a constant irritation to you. Here's how you modify it, but there's nothing we can do much about that, he said.
Are you watering those seeds?
Yeah, no, I'm not watering them. But then he stuck his finger up my you-know-where and said, oh, your prostate's flat like it should be after the seeds. And now I've got a flat prostate. I used to have a nice round walnut-shaped prostate, right? Now it's a flat one. But everything in my life has gone flat, so why not that? So
no, that's flaccid, not flat.
He checked for the blood in the urine. Okay, this is how thorough this guy is. And he goes, oh, you had a trace of blood in your urine when we put the dipstick in, so I looked under a microscope, and basically nothing. There's nothing there. It's just some kind of little bit of gazorchness in there. And he said, you're always going to show up with a dipstick with blood in your urine. So, is everybody enjoying this story?
Of course.
Anyway,
the waiting room, first half hour.
No, but he always makes me feel good about it. He doesn't make me feel bad about it. He doesn't instill terror in me or try to pad the bill, by saying you need this or you need that, or maybe we should do a cystoscopy on you or whatever. In case people don't know what a cystoscopy is, I won't labor you with what it is, but they stick a scope up your penis.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
It's not one of the more pleasurable things you want to do. Okay,
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
but maybe the guy only likes to give you a biopsy when it's on sale.
Well, you get two biopsies for one.
The price of one at Costco.
Well, no, he went in there, did a biopsy on me, and they found some cancer. One was stage 7, or whatever they call it, Gleason 7.
Gleason 7, that's pretty high.
Yeah, but that was just one segment, and it's all the different segments together, and it was a combination. Whatever. I had an intermediate.
Yeah, it's like 3-5 or.
I asked him yesterday. He said you had basically what we call either a low to intermediate case. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, every year, every 6 months or 9 months now, I get this PSA test, and it has to come back. And if it goes up, as Phil knows, because he had a scare once, they go bananas and say we better check and see why this is. So he takes my blood. He says, I'll let you know tomorrow. He doesn't let me know tomorrow at like 5 in the afternoon, right? He lets me know at 8:45 in the morning.
Well,
okay.
He wants to fuck your day up.
Which woke me up, and I hit the buttons wrong on my phone, and I see it's Dr. Vapnek, and I press the numbers wrong on my phone, and I completely lose him. And I'm going, I want my results. Last time he emailed me, this time he's calling me. Maybe it's something horrible. Anyway, I called the nurse and the front desk, and I said, I got Dr. Vapnek. He just called me. I'm calling him right back. She said, we'll check. She then goes to him, I guess, comes back and says, he's on a phone on another call right now, but he wanted me to tell you, no detectable PSA.
Nice.
Boy, did I breathe a sigh of relief. Because now all the things that I asked him about, the problems with the peeing and the thing and the this and the that, was all taken care of, and I guess, okay. I was worried about it. I was worried that this was a sign of something bad, and it wasn't, so.
Yeah, well,
Here I am, folks, alive and well.
Yeah, well, I was for about a year and a half, no detectable PSA. Then all of a sudden, they gave me a test, and there was. Mm-hmm. So they did another test, still the same result. So I had to take 7 weeks of radiation daily.
They probably should have sent you in for one of those cyber knives, because that's only 5. That's what I had, only 5. Yeah.
Well, there's no PSA. I mean, there's no prostate. So they're irradiating the area.
Okay. All right.
And even though there's no prostate, they still call it prostate cancer. So At this point today, after I got the vaccination, or the inoculation, I went up downstairs to the lab, and I said the doctor had ordered a PSA for me, so they drew blood. I peed in the cup, and as I left the vaccination area, I used the restroom. Mm-hmm. And then I get down to the lab,
and they ask you for pee, and you can't go.
Yeah. So I gave them a little.
I've learned how to always reserve a little before I go off to the urologist. Okay, because they're always.
I didn't know they were going to ask.
When I was younger, I had more of a problem peeing in the cup on cue than I do now. I don't know why, but anyway.
It's the radiation.
Here's keeping my fingers crossed. When do you get the results? Tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, I could probably go on now. Maybe
if you go on now and you get the results and they're bad, then we're going to be depressed for the rest of the show.
It is what it is. If there's detectable cancer, then they give me a shot every 6 months.
Hormones.
Yeah. And
but the thing is,
Caitlyn Jenner.
I was just really happy that that everything's fine. And by the way, this is 2 years that I've had undetectable. And I read online that if you're undetectable for 2 years, chances are you're okay. You're out of the woods. You can almost consider yourself cured. So
yeah. So I'm trying to check into. It knows my name.
What is it, Quest, or what is it?
No, this is the Kaiser.
Yeah.
If you did messages, no results yet.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be the case because overnight is when they do them.
4:00 my time.
Yeah, but I did it. I did it Monday morning, and Tuesday morning calls me up at 8:45 and says no detectable.
Well, I had the appointment for 10:30 this morning. I had 2 appointments before my store opened to look at a job and go to measure another one. And so as I was leaving that, I got a phone call, and I'm talking to somebody from my office, and all of a sudden I drove to my office instead of going to Kaiser and getting the shot. So this afternoon when I left work, I went over to Kaiser and I said, he says, did you have an appointment? I said, yeah, 10:30 this morning. And here it was a little after 4. Yeah. So he said, okay.
Here's hoping you stay in the undetectable club.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, our numbers have kept going down as we've talked about this.
That's because everybody's going to pee.
And fuck all of you. That's just my opinion. Fuck all of you. I don't care.
Well, they're gonna miss our new game. On the what do they call it? The Oscars.
I don't know about this new game, but inform me what this new game is.
You've heard, as you grew up, you heard of rock, paper, scissors, right?
No, we're not going to do this bit.
Yeah, come on.
Because I'm not hitting my camera.
Okay, you don't have to. I came up with an idea.
Okay.
Okay, so they came up rock, paper, scissors. So Will Smith decides that he's going to play the game.
No, it's Chris Rock. It's Chris Rock, paper, scissors.
Right. So he goes rock, paper, slap.
Yeah. Well, that was it was an unfortunate incident that happened, and it turns out now everybody kept asking the question, why didn't they just throw Will Smith out of the Oscars for doing that?
I don't think it kind of hit them.
No, they said they did. They went up.
Oh, he wouldn't leave. That's right. I read something.
They asked him to leave, and he wouldn't leave. And I'm sure that what they didn't want to do was create a big problem. I mean, if they got rid of him, got him to leave, then he was asked to leave. But if he said, no, I'm not going, and they tried to security guards pick him up and take him out, that might get on the air, and that would just be more of a disturbance than if they just said, okay, well, you just stay there. Plus,
he might have slapped them.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Nobody brings this up. okay? In all this discussion, and by the way, this discussion is frivolous discussion. You know, we've got the thing going on in Ukraine. We've still got COVID as a problem because it's rearing its ugly head again. All right.
Not for us.
Not for us. We're vaccinated. But this is all anybody's talking about. So we'll talk about it here for a few moments.
All right.
Here's the one thing nobody brings up, and it's the reason why this incident happened in the first place. And it has nothing to do with the fact that Will Smith had a hard-on for Chris Rock. The fact of the matter is that in every other Oscar ceremony, how is the seating? They're all sitting in seats in aisles, right? With aisles, right?
Oh, there are tables.
They
right?
What they did is they took out the front seats and put some tables down to make it a little cozier for the people who were, I don't know, up for the big Oscars, okay? Mm-hmm. So the fact was that this room here is about, I would say, I don't know how many feet long, maybe 20 feet long, maybe longer, a little longer. Yeah. I'm probably closer to this wall over here than he was.
You're talking about your studio,
than he was to Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, basically, if you look at it, there was a long shot of it. He was just about 15 feet away from Chris Rock. He just had to walk over to the stage, walk up one step, okay, and then slap him. Now, if this had been the old configuration of the Oscars, he would have had to perhaps be in either the front aisle or the aisle in back of him and saying to everybody as he would walk to the stage to slap him, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, and then walk up about 5 or 6 steps and then slap him. So,
well, I guess he wasn't in the cheap seats.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that it was the way they created this seating that made the stage so accessible to Will Smith.
I'm sorry, you know, I've been to a number of comedy shows.
And by the way, I'm not blaming that as the reason. I'm saying that that's the reason it was. The reason he thought to do it is because he was so close.
Well, I think he thought to do it because he was angry and he just didn't seem to be able to control himself. You know.
Be that as it may, what I'm saying is if those seats were there and there were steps to go up, he would have just sat there in the audience yelling, keep your, don't say my wife's name coming out of your fucking mouth or whatever he said, you know?
Well, I'd say you keep Trump's name out of your expletive mouth.
Yeah. But here's the point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It just made it easier for him to do that.
Okay. I understand.
It wouldn't have stopped him from yelling at Chris Rock, but it would have stopped him. You know.
Right. No, I don't think so. I think that he was a man on a mission. Did you see the way he walked there? And there was several steps. I mean, it doesn't matter how close or how far away. Think about this. You know, Bobby Slayton sometimes eviscerates people in the front row. You never, ever sit at a Bobby Slayton show in the front row. You know, he's left me alone.
I think if I asked Bobby about it, Bobby would say he's never been hit. Nobody ever came up and slugged him.
That's right. But this is possibly a new phenomenon. You know, and now there isn't a lot of comedy going on now. But you know, how could a heckler starts to get eviscerated by the comic, and that's what they do. And Bobby's the best at it. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, is somebody now going to have license to stand up, walk over, and slap the guy down? You know, and I just think this is a bad precedent.
But yeah. So anyway, that all I'm saying is that I think that we're the situation configured differently, like it was in the past. He would not have been able to get onto that stage and do it as easily as it was by just getting up off his seat, walking forward, stepping up one small step onto the stage.
Do you think he's a thug? You know, I mean,
I think what we've seen is the real Will Smith. You know, Will Smith is a very beloved comic. I mean, he has a very high, what they call Q rating. I mean, people love this guy. Not today.
No.
Not today. He's lost that cachet, and he deserves to. I don't think you haul off and slug anybody under any circumstances. Especially for such. I mean, I don't think Chris Rock was out of line for making a joke about Jada Smith saying, "Hey, being G.I. Jane 2." She came to it with her hair completely cropped. He didn't know that it was because of alopecia. He thought she was just wearing that to be stylish.
Even if it was, how I know it's.
I'm sure if he knew it was a medical condition, he wouldn't have made fun of it.
Well, that's a possibility. I thought it was a good joke.
There was nothing wrong with it.
Maybe that's that's the style that she had chosen for her hair. And to tell you the truth, I thought she looked very good.
I thought she looked terrific.
Yeah. So, I think there might have been other things going on in Will Smith's life that, wasn't, hasn't been public. And, maybe he's under a certain pressure. He was obviously distraught when he was receiving his award.
Well, he was just distraught because he had already gone through this thing and embarrassed himself. Yeah. He was trying to save his ass during that acceptance speech, which went on forever.
Yeah.
And I didn't give a crap about it. I'm trying to be the best person I can possibly be. Well, apparently you used to be the worst person you could possibly be.
And it came out again.
Then it came out again, But I mean, on the other hand, I've never been a big Chris Rock fan, although I, over the years, have warmed up more to him. It's like I wasn't a big Amy Schumer fan till the other night, and I thought she did a pretty damn good job on that show.
Oh, I didn't see it. But as far as Chris Rock goes, I understand his shows are now sold out, and instead of $100 a ticket, it's $400 a ticket.
Well, but also the people who are selling scalpers tickets are charging $1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a good jaw, and I watched a guy.
He got slapped hard. He didn't get hit.
Yeah. Well, he went over, and Will Smith's a big guy.
Well, he didn't go over. He
maybe flinched away from it. Or
yeah. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would have dropped the little card, put my hands up, and blocked. I mean,
to Chris Rock's, what can we call it? To his credit. Boy, I can't come up with words anymore. I got to stop taking this medicine. To his credit, he handled it pretty well.
Oh, with definitely with class. This is, I think it's going to help his career.
Well, I think his career's been pretty good, but he's starting to act a lot, and he's a very good actor. But anyway,
think he'll do any movies with Will Smith? Do you think he'll do any movies?
Yeah, he'll probably do Wild West 3. Or G.I. Jane 2. Who knows?
Yeah, really.
Hey, can you stick around tonight?
Sure.
Okay. Phil is going to stick around with it. That's not so much a positive, but a threat. And let me see here. We have some people here who are trying to get in. First there's Charlie Wallace, and then there's Alan, and then there's Brian Neary. And so we're off to the races. Now, I want to bring up something, Phil, while the rest of them are here, because if you didn't do it last week, do it this week. Have a drink.
Oh, what's the deal? Oh, you were talking about Russia, and it seems as though that the
no, what it was,
that the Chinese.
No, what you said is the Chinese were on the side of the Russians.
Well, they said they would be,
and they were going to come to the aid of the Russians. And the fact is that right after we had that conversation, the news came through that the Russians refused to send them half $500 million. Chinese refused to send them $500 million.
Haven't been giving them the support that the Russians thought that they would get, and which is good. Although there was an agreement and a handshake, and
that was things that had to do with like Afghanistan versus Taiwan. Like if they didn't come after them for for Ukraine, rather, Afghanistan. See me? Ukraine didn't go after them for Ukraine. They wouldn't come after them if they went after Taiwan. That was basically the deal. It wasn't any kind of a mutual, we'll come to your assistance.
China said that they would stand by Russia without any equivocation. I mean, they
didn't say that.
I haven't heard that.
You haven't heard that, right?
Because you guys don't listen to the real news.
No, because they do watch the news on a rather consistent basis, Phil, and they're able to absorb what it says, you know. But anyway, you were wrong. The Chinese don't want to have anything to do with Russia.
No, because Russia's losing. Why would they want to get?
They also don't want to have any kind of economic sanctions against them, because they don't want to ruin their economy. And what's Russia ever done for them? You know?
Yeah.
They were losing last week when you said that, too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Bunch of commies.
Yeah.
Phil's coming up with excuses, but they're the same situation we were last week.
Any of you guys have any feeling about the Chris Rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
After he said the joke, you see that picture of Will Smith was laughing, too. And then his wife was not too happy, so he got something. And he should have slapped the guy that was sleeping with her, 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, here's the deal.
Guy,
Yeah.
I thought they were divorced. I thought they got divorced because she was playing around with everybody.
No, you know what the story has been for years, that she's a lesbian and he's a homosexual, and they are kind of doing a what can we call? What's the word we look for?
Fake news.
No, a beard.
Out of convenience.
Well, they're a beard for each other. That's been the rumors that have gone around for years.
Out of convenience.
But forget it. I think they really like each other, and I think they've had a fairly good relationship. But I said on the Monday show that he's the biggest pussy whipped man in America, because he was laughing at that joke until his wife wasn't laughing at it. And they didn't show him, but I bet she threw him the stink eye. Like, how dare you laugh at that joke? And so he felt he had to do something because he's pussy whipped, and he got up and slapped Chris Rock.
And did you see Ricky Gervais? Ricky Gervais, right after that, he posted something from The Office. There was some joke running around about that skin stuff, and Ricky Gervais went and posted that right away on the internet.
Ricky Gervais said something like he was lucky that they didn't come after him for some of the things that he said.
Yes, Alan.
So yesterday, Fox News posted yet another black on black crime. How?
Have you heard Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a really good thing, and so did Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey had another good thing on there too. Saying Hollywood is spineless and stuff. So some people are coming out.
No, what Carrey was complaining about, and rightly so,
right,
was that when Will Smith got up to get his award and he accepted it and he was finished with the speech, they gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And he felt that was
Genuous.
Well, yeah, but it was also oh God, I can't come up with words anymore. This is terrible. I got to stop this drug.
It'd be like giving Putin a standing ovation for invading Ukraine.
For retreating, Well, good. Thank you for leaving now.
The applauding was codependent, is what it was.
Yeah, it's like they were ignoring what happened, and it seemed hypocritical. If this was a Me Too thing, they would have booed the guy. But now, and what would have happened if it was a what's his name?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, Ricky, or somebody not a black to black, but a white guy like.
I've seen that too. They were saying if it had been a white guy up there, he never would have gone up and slapped.
No. If the white guy got up and slapped the black guy, that would have really people would have been up in arms. But because
the thing is that nobody has been saying this is like a black hatred thing or anything like that. This is two black guys, over a black woman.
Right, but it probably has no color to it. I think it's just it was the individuals, and that there's that this had no racist.
No, it was definitely
undertones.
class, because if I had gotten up and slapped Chris Rock, I'd be in jail. I'd have been in jail 5 minutes later.
You wouldn't have made it to the
Security,
stage.
Yeah, security would have dumped you.
Yeah, it's what I said earlier. You wouldn't have been able to get to the stage, but he was within maybe 15 feet of Chris Rock because
It
of
sure looked that way.
that new stupid seating arrangement they came up with. You
That's
know,
why
where everybody's
everybody
sitting
thought it
around
was a
having
put on.
cocktails. What?
That's why everybody thought it was a put on, because an act, because he was so close to the stage.
No, it's also the fault of the producers. The fault of the producers who wanted that thing to look like a quasi Golden Globes.
No,
You know.
I watched this body language guy this morning that analyzed what was going on.
I saw him. He's full of
and
crap.
it wasn't fake, according to him.
Well, no, we didn't know.
It definitely wasn't.
Originally, I thought it was a bit when it was
Yeah, so
happening,
did I.
and then when they started yelling at each other and they were, cutting the audio out, I went, "This ain't a joke."
That same body language guy looked at Trump and said, "This is a fake presidency."
Trump already said if he was in office, it wouldn't have happened.
He did say that today.
But you know what?
But-
They've changed seating a little bit because of this whole COVID thing, right? So they did this sort of seating.
I don't think it was
before.
for COVID. I don't think it was for COVID. I
But-
think they were trying to change the look of it.
But they always seat the people who are like, even like the Grammys and all that stuff. All these the hot, the hot trendy people. Then they always sit them near the front. So knowing that Will Smith was going to get the Best Actor award and how that movie was, I think they already had him in prime seating anyways.
Well, you know what Will Smith did do was take the heat off the producers of the Oscars for how terrible that show was. That was the. Did you see the In Memoriam where they're singing? This one, pictures of people who died this year, to Norman Greenbaum's "Spirit in the Sky."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
The music was horrible.
The music was too much of it. Two of the numbers on the show were both from Encanto. They were both from the same movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason that they sat the people that were nominated up close was that it cut down on the amount of time that it would take to get from their seat to the stage to take their.
I think they did it because they wanted to make it look more intimate. And the thing is, the great thing about the Oscars is they're not intimate. They're big. They're spectacular. They're huge. And this turned it down to being a cocktail party.
I agree with you, Alex, when you were talking to Phil earlier, or maybe it was the other way around, that if you'd put him farther back in the crowd, he would have had to go through a bunch of people to go up to the stage. And
It wouldn't have been that easy. It wouldn't have been that
Trump-
easy.
That's right.
Even if he were on
this.
the aisle, it wouldn't have been that easy because he
That's
still would have
right.
had to walk up some stairs and,
Trump predicted this. He says it's going to be huge.
I like his hair color.
By the way, did you hear about your dear friend tonight, what he did?
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He got a hold of Vladimir Putin
Oh.
and asked him to look into Hunter
Hunter
Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look into Hunter Biden. Yeah.
He doesn't realize, Donald
What's going
Trump
on
doesn't
anyway?
realize there's a war going on.
Yeah, he didn't realize that.
Yeah. Hey, it would have been illegal for him as someone not in office to be able to contact Putin, I would think. That's the same thing. Who was that general at the beginning of Trump's presidency that was in hot water because he spoke to a Russian ambassador or a Russian, ambassador, and that put him in
Well,
hot
I
water.
mean, it looks like Trump is in a lot of hot water. It looks like it's looking bad.
No, we'll see. Hey, that somebody else got.
Oh, by the way, let me mention something quickly. Anybody notice anything different about me tonight?
different hat.
They're very bright.
Oh, no air conditioner.
That's right.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's
I
out the
noticed
window.
it while you were talking to Phil.
Yeah, the guy came and got all his stuff, and one of the things were the air conditioners in the living room and the kitchen, which we never use it. Even on the hottest day, we've got ceiling fans, and I got to tell you, it looks better, doesn't it? Huh?
Yes.
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool?
I think so.
Isn't that cool?
Well, window air conditioners are never that sexy. You know
No,
what I mean?
they don't make any that are decorative.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
You know who else got his vaccine today?
Who?
Oh, Big Al, the kitty's pal.
Oh, really? You got yours. Have you had yours yet? Oh, God, my
Charlie?
mind is just trashed.
I notified
Charlie.
everybody that I knew.
Charlie, did you get yours today?
I haven't gotten the fourth one yet, but I got the third one.
Yeah. How about you, John? You gonna go get your?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've already only had, I got the third one, but not the fourth.
How long ago did you get the third one? Because they say you should. If you did it 5 months ago, that's fine. But if you did it like 2 months ago, no. What?
I got mine in November, so I'm not due yet.
4 months or longer.
4 months or longer? Well, then you're up for it, right? Charlie, you can do it.
Yeah.
Do it anyway. Just get it, and then the next time they're going to say, "Well, now we need to get another one." You'll be right on schedule.
They asked me if I was immunocompromised.
Immunocompromised? Oh, that's yeah.
Yo.
What would that do to you if you were immunocompromised?
He's a yo.
You'd have no amino acids in your body.
I would
the
get
amino acids are in the
alopecia.
shampoo.
Probably alopecia, but anyway, they said, are you actively dealing with cancer? So I said, yeah. I take a pill twice a day.
Yeah, I'm doing everything I can do to get it.
Yeah, really. And because I guess if you're not immunocompromised,
Very good. Okay.
yeah, they won't give you the amino.
They will give you the amino. Yes, Alan.
Change the subject a little bit since we're bouncing around. Arizona governor today in the news. He signs a bill that bans most abortions after 15 weeks.
Surprise.
Hey, talking about governors, what about in Florida? They just put a bill in that kids can't be taught about between kindergarten and third grade. I think they can't mention.
Right. Well, that's the "Don't Say Gay" bill.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Florida, yeah.
But when I was in kindergarten to third grade, well, you thought the other opposite sex had cooties.
I think they should. I think they
didn't
should
know from that stuff.
I think they should go to the governor's mansion in Florida, 1,000, 2,000 strong, and all over and over again say gay, 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 gay.
Well,
Gay,
they brought
gay.
it up on the Academy Awards. Two of the hosts said that it was wrong
Yeah.
on the Academy Awards.
I don't know. Do you think kids of that age can decide or think about their sexuality? They haven't even developed to the point where they understand it.
Well, that's the point. They're not. I mean, is there any evidence that any schools are teaching kids about sexual orientation when they're in kindergarten?
I don't know.
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are, and I don't think they will until probably until they're maybe in sixth grade or something like that, or fifth grade.
There's some
I didn't want
Republicans
my
that are
daughters
still
dating
in
until they were
kindergarten.
40.
when they get to a bunch of students who are basically going through adolescence or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
I'm puberty. I'm bad on the English language. Please excuse me, folks. I don't know what's happening.
They have a
to me.
political group called the Republicans that go through kindergarten at age 40.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're going through puberty, I think that's the time to have the conversation. All right. Now, hopefully, parents would do it at home, but most parents are chicken to talk about sex with their kids. That's why we teach sex in the schools.
Brian just went to go tell his daughter.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the time to tell your kids about the facts of life is when they ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the time. My father said that was the time that he held out, that he wouldn't tell me until I asked. So when I asked him at 30, I was a very retarded kid.
I think Jack is ringing a bell about now.
Let me see here. Yeah. So I mean, you just wait for the kid to ask you, you know, and then you give them a straight answer. But a lot of parents can't.
When my youngest was in preschool, she came home one day and she said to me, "I know the difference between boys and girls." I figured, oh God, I'm not ready for this. Right. And I says, okay, what's the difference? She says, girls sit down, boys stand up.
Yeah.
Do you know the difference between boys and girls?
Hey, cool it. We got. Hello.
Do you know the difference between boys and girls? Yes. Okay.
What's the difference?
And a man can marry a woman, right? And a man can marry a man, right? Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine, right? Okay.
Says it's okay.
Did
they teach you that in school?
Bravo. Very good.
I teach you that at home.
Yeah. Kind of look for a short moment there like you were a ventriloquist.
No, because it's come up with her. She said something before and we say, you know, I say, and that's okay, right? And she says yes. And I said, that's awesome. So she watches this thing.
Yeah.
It's called Dartman, DHRT or something. And it talks about it has all these stories about, you know, the nerd getting beat up in school or the hot girl taking advantage of the nerd. Yeah, Dartman. And it's all these stories, all these short stories that talk about good and bad. And she's been watching it for over a year. She really absorbs all that stuff. And it's really, really good. She really understands the meaning behind those. And I'll ask her some questions and let her explain those things. And so really good.
Well, you know, it's very good that you did that and that you did it in the way that you did it. The question is, how many parents have the nerve to do what you did?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem. So that's why I think at a certain point schools have to teach it. They should do it at a time when they feel that if the kids don't know about it at that point, then somebody should tell them.
Yep.
You know. Yeah. And what you're doing is you're also creating a very positive situation for her where she's going to have a good feeling about when she sees a kid who has two parents who are the same sex. She's not going to even think it's unusual, you know.
And it goes for race also, you know, because at her school, a lot of Indian, a lot of Asian, a lot of white. And so, you know, so she understands all that too. You know, we've talked about some stuff and say, you know, everybody's the same, right? Everybody has two eyes, everybody has two legs, and you know, so I go through a lot of that stuff with her too. So she's really good, really, really good kid.
Wow.
Some of us have fewer toes though.
I got to remind her about that one.
Yeah.
That's his mafia name, Charlie Toes.
You know, I mean, I think it's really I think it's so that's the reason why we want to say gay in schools and why we want to have sex education in schools, but not early, when it's appropriate, when it's a time when everybody in that class should know about it, you know.
Yeah, because if whatever situation it was that her and I started talking about that, if that situation never came up, I wouldn't bring that up right now, for sure.
And
but it was just something that came up and we were talking about that.
Well, in this day and age, too, kids are so precocious that they probably already learned about it in the schoolyard. They may as well learn it from a place where they're getting the right information, you know?
And we learned about gay when we were...
What? What'd you say? Well,
sorry.
Well, no.
We learned about gay when we were young. All of us did, but we're all like, "You're gay, man. Stop queer." You know, we would use it as a bad term.
I knew gay when I was a child because my parents had two friends who used to come to dinner all the time, very close to my parents, and they were both men. And finally, one day, I just said to my father, and I guess I was still very young at the time, what is the relationship between those two people? And he said, well, you know how the relationship between your mommy and I? And I said, yeah. He said, same thing. And I understood it, you know, and then I assumed that they were just a couple. He said they love each other very much, just like your mom and dad do. So I never grew up with any fear of gays. As a matter of fact, I often talk about how I grew up gay because I went to the symphony instead of a baseball game with my father, and because I was in the theater and things like that, everybody called me a homo or whatever they would call me. I forget the words now since this pill makes me forget stuff. Homos. Hey Bennett, you queer or something? And so I grew up kind of feeling that prejudice, even though I wasn't. In fact, I wish I were a little bit gay, because my heterosexuality got me into a lot of trouble over the years. 4 marriages, count them. Four marriages. And by the way, tomorrow is my wife's last day at her job.
Oh.
Retirement.
Well, it's not.
It's
not exactly retirement. She's getting paid 25% salary for the next 2 years, and we're covered by their insurance. So that's okay by me.
My son's first day of work was today.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Baskin Robbins.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he got my wife's job.
No. Baskin Robbins. So we knew he was training today. Yeah. So we happened to be out and about, and we're coming home. So we stopped there, and we all said, it was Adrian and Tiffany and I, and we said, we're gonna pretend like we don't know him. So we walked in there, and he was being trained. I took a quick picture. And so he just looked over. He's being trained with his best friend, with the manager, I guess. And we walked in, and we got some of the courts, and we're leaving. Just pretend like we don't know him. And we told Adrian, don't say anything. And so right when we're leaving, I said, bye, Simon. We walked out the door.
Did you leave a tip?
Oh, he was training.
Oh, yeah, but they got a tip jar.
That's the answer, Phil. No.
Yeah.
They were training.
He stiffed his own son.
But anyway, so let's see here. Trump called Putin and said to him that he wanted, or asked, I don't know if he wrote, I think he actually called him. What was in the news?
No.
Huh?
It was an interview on some right-wing podcast, and he said, Putin should tell us about Biden's son getting $3 million from the mayor of Russia. I was like, what? Where did that shit come from?
From the mayor of Russia?
Mayor of Russia's wife gave him $1 million.
3.5 million. $3.5 million.
Wait a minute. The mayor of there is no mayor of Russia.
Mayor of Moscow.
Oh.
Yeah.
The mayor of Moscow's wife
gave Hunter Biden $3.5 million.
And by the way, it's pronounced
good in bed then.
It's pronounced Moscow. Okay.
Moscow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Moscow.
And, there's a drink named after that. It's Moscow Mule.
Moscow Mule.
And there's a firebomb named after that.
And by the way, that's pronounced Mule.
Actually, in Russian, it's Moskva.
Moskva?
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, right. It's Moskva.
I think Charlie speaks Russian, or he
used to.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that show, The Americans? Were you one of those guys?
Oh, yeah, I love
watch that show. Yeah.
I almost relearned Russian watching that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I consider Russian a very sexy language.
Some of those Ukrainian chicks are hot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You only like the ones with blood on them, though.
No.
Oh,
no, there's some blonde Ukrainian chicks, and they are cute.
Well, a lot of Jews in Ukraine.
Yeah.
A lot of Jews.
The president of Ukraine is Jewish.
Yeah.
And a comedian. Do you think anybody's going to slap him?
I don't know, but Putin's trying to.
Yeah, really.
It's not getting good for Putin. I mean, I'm so happy that this country, which he thought he could just waltz into and take over and it'd be an easy thing, turned out to be his Waterloo, and it's cost him back home with the perception of him, no matter what the news people are saying, and it is it's an expensive proposition for him, both in human lives and in treasure. He said 17,000 Russians dead in this thing, not anywhere near that in Ukrainians, But I mean, it's time for him to get out, and they said today that he's been given constant bad information by his military people who are too afraid to tell him the truth.
he's going to end up shooting them.
Yeah.
No, but that's what happens if you try to be a strong arm leader. When it comes to times like this, and you need to have people tell you, hey, it's not going well, right?
Yeah.
You should know that. But if they're afraid to tell you that,
you remember the story, the emperor has no clothes. This is just like that.
You know the story of Stalin, that when he was dying, he had a stroke or something. They said, which one of you want to go get a doctor? Well, I don't know. You want to draw straws on that? I don't know. Wait a minute. Let's hold back. Let's discuss this. Now, who wants to go get the doctor?
And what doctor would...
And they never called a doctor for him. They just let him lie there and die.
They had killed them all.
Huh?
They had killed all the doctors. There was no doctors left.
But
Yeah, he probably killed them all.
still, they could have gotten him some kind of help, and maybe his life could have been saved, but they didn't. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Putin. If Putin suddenly gets that big stroke, they're not going to call the hospital to take him away. Yeah. They're going to say they're going to draw straws first. You know,
they probably have the 911 system like we do, and somebody's not going to be able to find the 11 on the phone.
And they had one of the Russian guys, right? One of Putin's guys. They think he was poisoned. Not the guy who was running against him, but I'm talking about a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Because there's a sort of a Ukraine sympathist or something. So
yeah.
Well, there's an oligarch that was talking to the Ukrainians without just Putin's permission.
And he ended up dead?
No,
he did. They got pretty sick, and we're pretty sure he was poisoned.
Yeah. So all those guys don't want to touch any surfaces or anything.
Well, there was one guy who was a critic of Putin's that got poisoned not once. Mm-hmm. Then he went back to Russia and got poisoned a second time. And then he went back again, and now he was thrown in jail.
Well, if you need a job, you could become a food taster in Russia. You know, I bet you it pays well.
Yeah, well, I would imagine. Yeah, and you better have some kind of anti-serum or something available after that happens. But what a world we live in. But you know what bothers me, I think, about this whole Chris Rock thing is that with all that's going on in the world, that's the big news.
Yeah.
That suddenly becomes a story that won't die. You know, I mean, maybe part of the reason why I think it was a big story and the news tended to report it a lot was it was a story that we were witness to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they then feel the public has a vested interest in the story. So that would make a little bit of sense, I think.
And we actually saw it live.
Yeah.
And they were trying to cover up Hunter Biden's laptop that it turns out that they were legitimate. But now with this news story, maybe they won't be talking about Biden, the Biden family, and all of those other things.
I think the Republicans found that Hunter Biden did have a laptop.
There's no reason.
Your audio isn't working, Alan. You're muted.
Really?
Why did he say?
And that's your friend, Alan. Just remember that. Okay?
Yeah, that's your friend. He's only your friend because he'll buy you dinner. That's why, Alan. Admit it.
Or ammo.
Hunter Biden does not exactly public office.
What'd you say?
What exactly did Hunter Biden do wrong, except just take money, from people that were willing to give him money?
I guess there was things about 10% to the big guy and using
no, that's what you hear.
We're not talking about Hunter Biden. You're talking about Trump now.
And to using Biden's position as vice president to
because the vice president has so much power.
No, right. Well, he did in that case, especially in Ukraine.
The point
was vice president in Ukraine.
Yeah, well.
All you're listening to are rumors, Phil. Nothing's been proven.
No, that's not true. I also listen to innuendo.
I mean,
hey, he actually knew how to say that word.
You can't just accuse me of listening to rumors.
I'd like to shove this up your innuendo.
Hey, I don't have a prostate. I don't need that.
Yeah, but I do proudly. It's flat, but it's a prostate nonetheless.
Yeah.
I thought about my
why Phil didn't lose any weight is the average prostate weighs between 30 and 45 grams.
Yeah, but
that's
mine was like 135 grams.
Was it
I
really?
had something big. That was the only thing.
Yeah, so it's like an ounce and a half for an average prostate. So
For an average prostate, yeah.
yeah.
Well, my prostate is A-OK right now. I have a non-detectable PSA. So,
I find that out
huh?
in a couple weeks.
Some woman,
Yeah.
there was some woman in the Ukraine that was giving Russian soldiers sunflower seeds.
Yeah, no, I saw that. It was a very famous video of a
Right.
woman saying, "Here's some sunflower seeds. Put them in your pocket so that when you're dead, you'll at least sprout sunflowers." You know,
Right. So yeah, I know you got seeds in your prostate, but
They weren't sunflower seeds.
oh,
They were sunflower seed shells. That's what they were.
yeah. Well, you ate the sunflower seed.
Well, what's funny is that I mean, I'm just delighted that that it's been 2 years now, and at 2 years they say with seed implantation and stuff like that, if you don't get a detectable, even a low detectable, but you don't get a detectable, they consider that pretty much a cure. So
Yeah.
I'll knock on wood, but I think
Isn't it after 5 years of being cancer free?
5 years is the number of years they give on most of these things as a how can I put it, as a limit,
rate.
A survival rate number. It doesn't have to do with you're cured.
Oh.
In some cases they say you're never cured. It could always come back. Blah 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 blah. In other cases they do say you're cured. Am I right about that, Jeff? Because you know about medical stuff. What?
You're muted.
doesn't
You're
know
really
about
muted.
You got to turn your mic on.
Not like Alan, who should be muted.
Gee.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm on now.
Yeah.
I just recently went through this whole series, and the reason was about 40 years ago, I had a stroke. Okay, and
Was it
I
that
was
long
taking-
ago now,
Yeah.
Jeff? Wow.
and I was taking certain drugs. And I don't know what it was, about a year ago or so, I was falling asleep easily. And the doctor says, well, you ought to stop taking those pills. They're kind of like old and they're not going to hurt you. Well, sure as shit. I was having some sleeping problems again. And the next thing I know, I'm at the hospital and they're asking me questions.
When's this? Just recently?
Just Monday.
Monday. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to answer these questions. And I couldn't come out with the words at all. I couldn't
Like
say.
you had a stroke again?
Yeah, I would call it it's a mini stroke. Yeah. A seizure. Okay.
Ooh.
Hail
Yeah.
Caesars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I turned 40 like Jeff, I got to look forward to all this stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay now, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I'm going pretty good.
Did they feel you had a stroke or something, or?
A seizure.
Jeff,
what
it
they
couldn't have been
call it.
sleep apnea or something like that. That's,
No,
no.
you know what they said is because of the original stroke stuff, there's certain parts of the body that can clot and unclot and do things that
So they put you on some blood thinners or something?
So they gave
Yeah.
me a new drug that'll prevent that.
Okay,
That's
good.
good.
Good. Good.
So we'll see if this works out. Yeah.
Did you hear about Bruce Willis?
Yeah, Bruce
Yeah,
Willis.
yeah.
Yeah. He
The
he's
Alzheimer's?
he's out of acting, right, for the time being.
No.
And he has what was it called?
Like Alzheimer's, isn't
No,
it?
it's not Alzheimer's. No.
No.
It's
Sort of like
it's a thing where he can't remember words or
yeah,
or something.
like I'm having tonight.
yeah.
Like dementia.
No,
Well, no,
no, I
no.
don't
Bennett
think it's that.
disease.
It starts with an A.
Aphasia.
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 And
Yeah,
it could happen because he might have had a stroke, and that's what caused the aphasia, or it could be caused by several other things that have nothing to do with a stroke. But in any event, he has aphasia. He can't remember words.
It says that it's a condition that affects the ability to communicate.
Which
I
I
thought Alex just said that.
Yeah, I got
Right.
that.
Well,
yeah, I just said that.
That sounds like dementia.
Yeah.
no,
No.
no.
He doesn't know how to remember words, which is a form of not being able to communicate, Phil.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sad, I'm having trouble finding words. I'm wondering if I've had a small stroke or something, but I doubt it.
You know.
Marjorie said to me after I came back with my positive test the other day,
Yes.
what's going to be the problem now?
Now.
What's going to be your
Problem du jour.
latest? What's going to be your latest problem? I said, well, my hand still hurts.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
the problem du jour.
I mean,
Are you using that exercise thing?
No.
You should. It'll
Don't
help.
you think you could get a discount off your rent now that you're ADA, the American Disabilities Act? Because
Wait a minute. I'm getting my rent for $500 a month. How much more can they lower it?
That's right.
They can pay you.
Right, there you go. I agree with Phil. They should.
Now, Alan's a landlord. Do you pay your tenants to stay?
No.
Oh, okay. So, why would you want, as a landlord, why would you want everybody to give away rent?
I see people like you.
And you're in the same business. You're in the same business as Trump. He's a landlord.
Well, Marjorie's a landlord, as you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But when the pandemic came along, I've got to stop this drug. When the pandemic came along, she lowered the rent for her tenants, and I said that was really nice of you. She said, yeah, he's a music teacher and he couldn't teach music a lot because the pandemic and people not being able to get close and so on. And I said, fine, that's great. So the other day I said to her, so you going back to charging him the regular rent? She said, no, I'm still charging him what I was charging him. And I said, all of a sudden I felt like the horrible landlord. I went, really? You really should start charging them again what you were charging them before, because it's over with now. Oh well, I don't want to do that. I said, you can be a nice landlord, but you can't be a stupid landlord.
It's like government. Once you institute a tax, you never take it away. Mm-hmm. And whenever you give some sort of subsidy, it's very difficult to take it away. They just keep renewing the subsidy, and so now the guy is accustomed to paying a certain amount of rent, and then when you go to raise it, Did you
see about these people out in California who were taking the government during the pandemic when people were getting extra money for the fact that there was a pandemic and they couldn't work and stuff, and so they handed in the government something like thousands upon thousands of claims for people who didn't exist, and made millions upon millions of dollars off of it.
Yeah, and where are they now? In the big house.
Some of them went to a foreign country.
Really?
Okay, and they got all their money over there. They said the government won't be able to reclaim a lot of that money. Wow. I feel that if you can find them, you should shoot them.
Oh, I don't know. Aren't these people the people that filled out ballots for Trump in 2016?
No, they're the ones that filled out ballots for Biden.
Yeah, that's right.
I have to change the subject, but
They're
look at
from
that.
California.
Look at that.
What?
Oh,
what?
yeah.
What?
Jury duty.
What is it?
Every 2 years, I get jury duty. I don't know why.
Stop
They
voting.
like you, John. You live in the right zip code.
Hey, John, just stop voting, and they won't call you to jury duty.
So now
That's just one more Democrat down the road.
Well, for years I kept getting jury duty notices. I just never answered them because it didn't come, certified or anything like that. So how do they know I got it?
Right.
But finally, they just kept coming after me, and then they did do certified or something like that. So I had to go down and be part of, jury duty.
So in California, the way they get your jury duty stuff is off of 2 areas: driver's licenses and voter ID.
Yeah.
So if you do, like, I'm assuming you don't drive, John, and if you do, like Phil said, stop voting, you probably won't get
I
it.
think they should do it for driver's licenses, but I don't think they should do it for voting because that's going to inhibit some people from voting.
Yep.
Mean like illegals?
No.
In California,
They can't
illegals
vote
can
anyway.
vote, can't they?
They do.
Right.
Do illegals vote? Do you know an illegal?
They don't vote.
Do you know an
Millions
illegal?
of votes for Biden.
Do you know an illegal who votes?
No, but I know illegals
Can you
that have
can you
driver's licenses.
can you supply us with a name?
Alan Ween.
Phil Meyer. Phil L. Meyer.
Most illegals won't do anything to call attention to themselves because they don't want to get deported.
Exactly.
So if you don't register to vote, you're not going to be noticed.
Maybe.
Well, Phil, you stumbled there. You know that's good logic.
Right. Well, I was the one that suggested to the Democrat on the panel, don't register to vote. Don't vote. And then they won't call you to jury duty. But, you got to weigh, vote, jury duty,
They never picked me anyway, so it never bothered me to go in for jury duty.
They don't
Honey,
pick
they
me
don't
and
pick
they won't
us
pick
either.
Alan. They won't pick Alan and they won't pick me.
No.
When
Well,
I fill out my questionnaire, I'm going to tell them. What should I tell them?
That
Don't
you know cops.
Well, in doing
QAnon.
jury duty, I got to meet Steven Soderbergh. So it was.
But he got off.
He got off, and then I got off because I said that I didn't want to be put in the position of having to pass judgment on a drug dealer, because I felt that the crime itself was basically a medical crime rather than a criminal crime, and the judge said, "Well, next." And after Soderbergh got off, he was sitting there, and he said to me, "Boy, that was a flimsy excuse." And I said, "Yours that you were making a movie in Cuba wasn't?"
Brian had his hand up.
Yes, Brian.
Kill them all and let God sort them out. That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
What
One of my old
Vietnam.
engineers I worked for, he'd say
just
that all the
I
time.
just said I don't believe drugs should be a crime, and he said, "Next, that's it. Goodbye. You're dismissed."
When Phil and I go there and they say, do you believe that this guy, you could be fair with this guy? And I always say, if the police arrest him, he must be guilty.
Well, I said the next time they called me again, I had turned 75, and I said, "I'm 75, blow me." Because once you turn 75 in New York, you don't have to do jury duty unless you want to.
70 in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, 70 in California too.
But then again, as we all know, that the age of consent in Texas is 13. So
I thought that was
Oh
Arkansas.
my God, they just sentenced a middle school, not ours, but the one next door at Dartmouth. A guy was sexually abusing 2 girls during junior high years. This was about 5 or 10 years ago, and $102 million, $79 million that the school district has to come up with to give these 2 girls.
really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how they come up with the money, but because they said that they were
tax money, Brian.
There's a real dividing line here between abuse and prostitution.
How much do women teachers and the women high school teachers, how much were the settlements for them that hit the 14-year-old boys with sex? And
You want to
things
know
like
something? I often said, what crime was committed there? If you guys, you're all guys, okay, and you're all straight guys here, all right? I assume. And you were like 14, and you had a really hot teacher come on to you and show you the ways of the world. Would you complain about it?
No.
No, but they can't
No.
keep their mouths shut. That's the
But their
problem.
jealous friends can't keep their mouth shut.
Well, here's
That's
the
right.
thing, though. What I said was the worst thing that can happen to these boys was a chafed hands from all the high fiving. You know, I just never. And did you notice that all those teachers in Florida were hot?
Of course.
You know,
Even Laterno and
Laterno was okay. Yeah, but there was one woman in Texas that was just so hot it was ridiculous. And, you know, I mean, she should have gotten an award for indoctrinating a kid into the ways of sex. The worst part about it was that's the best it would ever be for him.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
All
Yep.
downhill from there.
All
Yeah.
downhill from there. Give up on sex. Either that, become gay, do something else, you know?
Right.
Just spend the majority of your
I
time
had the best.
masturbating.
Now I can't do that again.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do better than that. You know, so.
Has anybody in our group here
Mhm.
gone on vacation to other countries?
Well,
lately?
lately.
recently, you saying?
Yeah.
No, Marjorie and I would probably like to.
I talked to a friend of mine.
We don't have as much money to do it with now after paying this one guy $75,000 and so on. But still, you know, I've got it, and I would really like to. We'd really like to take a vacation.
I got a friend
Light
that
it up, John.
I talked to last night on Facebook. He's in the Dominican Republic, and he's staying in a resort. He says it's costing him $250 a day in an all-inclusive resort in paradise. And he says, I can't live that cheap. He was living in New York. His rent was 15 grand a month when he was in New York. There was a flood in his apartment and he had to move out. And so he said, you know, hey, look, you know, I'm just spending 7 grand a month now and it's all inclusive and, you know, all you can drink, all you can eat and sports. And, you know, so he's digging the.
Well, the only problem with going on a vacation right now is plane fare is incredibly expensive, and the hotels would be incredibly expensive where we
Well,
want to go.
you know,
So
this Dominican Republic thing looked pretty nice, but I don't know if you're into the tropics and stuff like that.
I don't want to go to the Dominican Republic.
Why were you asking, Jeff?
Yeah, what are you asking, Jeff?
Well, I was trying to see. My son just got back from Paris for like 10 days or something
And how expensive was
with
it?
his girlfriend. I don't know.
They're going to find out when their credit card bill comes at the end of the month. Right?
Yeah, but they had a great time. That's I know
Really?
that.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I mean, you know, we'd love to do something like that, but you know, it's just very expensive right now. It's expensive everywhere. If I got on a plane and went to California, it would cost me a fortune. By the way, I want to ask. I wanted to ask him earlier, but John, you live in the Tenderloin in
Yeah,
San Francisco, and they've said that's one of the most dangerous neighborhoods now in San Francisco.
Yes.
It is if you're hanging around on the streets dealing drugs, but you know, I mean, I live here. Nobody hassles me. I don't go out in the middle of the night hanging looking for crack. You know.
Yeah, but
But,
but they say that right now they had a list on YouTube, because I watch YouTube a lot, about the 10 worst cities in America, and number 10 was New York. Okay, number 5 was San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
They said
Some
it's
parts of San Francisco are bad, but most of it's very nice.
no, but they said no. Other things were being taken into consideration: cost of apartments, you know, cost of living, things like that.
Right.
They say it's very expensive in San Francisco.
yeah.
the whole Bay
Hey,
Area.
Alan, you remember that you saved a woman cop? Was that in the Tenderloin?
No,
No.
it was in the Mission
Oh,
in San Francisco on Treat Street. Look it up, Phil. Runs between
Yeah,
16th and 18th along Harrison.
that's the toothless hooker street.
that's probably why Alan was cruising there.
And that's probably why it's called Treat Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
correct.
Alan was cruising, and there was a woman cop getting beat up by a big guy, and Alan actually got out of the car and subdued the big guy and called for an ambulance for the cop who was getting.
Well, bravo for you.
It was
that how
a
long
female.
ago?
I actually drove around the block. This is about 10 years ago. I drove around the block and saw the car there, the police car with the passenger's door open, but there was nobody around. So I figured, it must have been a foot pursuit or something like that. But nothing's open around there at midnight or 1 in the morning, whatever time it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back around and thought, okay, I'll go check on. And as I got out of my vehicle and walked up on the sidewalk, this big guy was taking this female officer and slamming her head into the concrete. So I went up and choked the guy out, which I was trained to do. It's illegal in San Francisco, but I didn't give a shit, and they didn't give a shit either. And then grabbed her handcuffs. She was barely conscious. Handcuffed the guy and got on her radio and called for help.
Wow.
Wow.
And they claimed, the doctors told me later on that I saved her life. One
You got
more
an
hit
award.
on the concrete would have killed her.
Yeah, you got an award.
Yeah, accommodation. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
Good work.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's good for you.
Yeah, but most people would never saw that as something strange. It comes with police work. Phil probably would have done the same thing.
Yes.
He probably would have saw it and said, "Yep, there's no hookers in this neighborhood. I think I'll drive around one more time."
Yeah. Well, anyway, but I just hear that San Francisco is not a walk in the park anymore.
No, it's really gone downhill, especially since the pandemic. Everything's closed. There's just nothing.
You go there and everything is closed. You're right, John. I was there last weekend. Boring.
New York is no walk in the park now. Well, there is a park here. We can walk in it, but it's no walk in the park. But part of the problem that we have here is the cost of rents is enormous. Okay, although you couldn't prove it by me, but they're enormous. And even if I were paying the higher price on this apartment, it still wouldn't be close to that. Okay, average rental I think here in New York for a 1-bedroom apartment is over $3,000 a month. Okay. But there are a lot of other problems too. Like this mayor of ours is just doing some crappy stuff.
How is that? What is
Well,
he doing?
I mean, I'll tell you one thing, and then we're going to have to
voted
go.
for Curtis Sliwa.
No, what he did was he allowed the people who are wearing, who are not, don't want to be aren't vaccinated and don't wear masks to play sports and engage in entertainment. However, if you are a person like a cop or a nurse or a doctor or whatever, anybody that deals with the public, you have to be vaccinated.
Right.
And everybody is really pissed about that, because why should they get off the hook? Because they're sports people, I mean, of all things, and entertainers, and they don't contribute to the welfare of the city like other people. They should have to get vaccinated just like anybody else.
Are public servants, and I think that the mayor is not that he's justified, but he can demand that they get.
Yes, he is justified in that. I don't disagree with you, but that doesn't justify him exempting sports personalities.
Right.
Like we have this Kylie Irving, or whatever his name is. He's a basketball player. Refused to get his shots, so that he hasn't been able to play. Now he can play again. Screw him. He should never get to play ever again.
But they're saying he can play in another town, but he can't play in New York.
Well, because the other towns don't have the same rules. But what I'm saying is that doesn't make it right, okay? The fact is, he wouldn't get a shot. He didn't care about anybody around him. He can go screw himself. I don't care if he is a basketball player. But anyway, that's for another day. Hey, thank you, Phil. Appreciate it, you hanging around here. Same to you, Alan. Good having you here. Charlie, always, a pleasure. Brian, you're one of my favorites of all time. Okay? And John Larkin, great to see you again. And, of course, Jeff, give a big wave goodbye, everybody. I'll give a big wave goodbye, too, okay? All right, here we go. There we go. I gained a big wave goodbye, and then we'll fade to me. Okay, there we are. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. There'll be another one convening right after this program on Jack Bishop's Intersection over most of this same GabNet. And you can participate in that just by calling it GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Yeah, of course, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, If you see her, tell her I love her. And if you get a chance, get that fourth booster shot. Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Good night, everybody. Bye.